So how do you want to start this? One
Um.
sec. I'm just going to turn off the music in the game so we don't have the harbor sounds while we do this.
Oh, fair. Um. I think actually Davi will probably approach it since there's something that she wants to bring up. Um. Pretending, of course, that none of the earlier nonsense with herself happened. Everything's fine. Shut up. And we'll
Okay, to be fair, I'm going to
approach.
say if we survive this battle and the battle goes well enough that everybody lives, Jubei is still going to be in a really fucked up scenario, probably back on the boat or wherever the hell we end up. So,
Yeah.
arbitrary room. We'll just call it that for this point.
Yeah.
Jubei's in an
Uh.
arbitrary room or area, kind of just really depressed, looking down at his arm.
Davio will knock if there's a place to knock
If not,
and
just like you can see, if this
say,
is outside, you say you hit a tree. There's a
yeah,
knock.
yeah, just alert her presence. It'll say, Jube, are you in there?
One second, Davia. And you just hear like a switch scurrying, or if it's outside, you see him quickly cover his arm back up. Yes, Davia, what is it?
Yeah, I was hoping to talk to you in private.
Oh, of course, Davia. I would enjoy that very much.
She'll walk in, uh, take a available seat, um, and give him a look, brows kind of furrowed a little bit, and just be like, "You have not been looking very good since that morning with whatever it is that happened that night."
Yes, I suppose I did promise you an explanation on that.
If you are ready, yes.
Kind of looks at her, up at her, and he's got a very demure down look where he's very you can see just his life drained out of his face. He looks like a totally defeated man. um, I did not want to worry about this before the battle had commenced. I had been able to overcome it still, but he's not even going to say this. And he takes his sleeve and he rolls it up, and you notice that demonic mark on his arm has started to spread. And you see big, thick, black, pulsing veins on his arm.
God fucking damn it.
Yeah, Nano's an asshole. The DC just went up by 1. Told you it was worse than you thought.
uh, Davi will get up and move closer to sit by him and uh, look it over with an indiscernible look in her eyes and say, "Is it painful?"
Yeah, it is distracting. I can feel it draining. Well, the magical source of my energies from my body. I resist, but it is not a pleasant feeling. But he just looks up at her. It's nothing to concern yourself about, I'm sure. As he slowly puts the sleeve back down.
She'll stop him, still looking at it, and say, "Might I touch it?"
Um, of course, Davia, if you wish.
Very carefully will peel back the sleeve that he had begun to push back down and uh, hold his arm, looking at it, and very, very carefully, being like as if she's trying not to break glass. uh, brush her thumb over the protruding veins.
You could probably see that he's not wincing in agony, but there's kind of a, let's call it a slight sadness to his eyes as Davia is looking at what is very obviously his weakness at the moment.
We can send a letter to the fort to Satoshi to see how his search is going.
I hope well, but hopefully when we return he will have an answer for us. But as I say, at the moment it is not the worst thing. I I am surviving.
I mean no offense by this Jubei, but you do not look like someone who is just surviving. You look terrible.
Well, he kind of looks up at her, and you almost kind of see kind of his eyes, not quite crying, but you almost see his eyes water up.
It's complicated, Davia.
Opens mouth and then closes it, like has like this look on her face like she's processing something and trying to figure out the proper way to approach this, and then cautiously reaches out to kind of making it appear she's just kind of brushing his bangs behind his ear, but in the process kind of brushes her thumb against the tears that are gathering and says, "Tell me what is wrong."
I don't want to break my word to you, Davia. I've already put it online once, and I
He just kind of grits his teeth.
I can't die yet for so many reasons. And when I look at this arm,
He looks back up at her.
I can't let it beat me. Because
And he's just gonna grit his teeth,
I
and almost in like a, kind of a burst.
if I die, no one else can help you.
And he's just kind of almost breaking down into tears.
Oh, she's startled by that for a moment, not really knowing what to do. Um, but eventually she lets go of his arm to hold his face between her hands and force him to look at her. Um, Still being gentle, but there's a firmness to her so that if he tries to turn his head away, she won't let him. Um, and narrows her eyes at him and is just like, "You are not going to die. It is not going to happen. Do not even entertain the thought of it. I I don't know what you mean by helping me, but I am fine and you are going to be fine too."
He just grabs her by her arm.
It's a lie, Davia. You know it. I may be fine, but Davia, in these last few days, you have almost thrown your life away 3 times. If I wasn't there, I don't even want to think what would have happened.
He looks away down at the ground at that. I. That is. That is. Me being careless due to my emotions, I will admit, but I. That does not mean that I am in need of help. I just.
When she says that, he just grabs her by the shoulder and looks at her with her teary eyes.
Davia, don't you say that. You may be hostage to your emotions and it may have been carelessness. But you need help. And I want to help you with everything I have. And I need to help you. But if I'm not there, if things keep going this way, Davia, I can't. I, I can't let it happen. Not again. Never again.
Her gaze kind of looks wildly around, not really sure what to do with herself, but seeing him start to kind of fall apart, she'll push her way forward to hold him, pressing his head to her shoulder and holding the back of it with her hand. And give a moment before saying, I am sorry. I did not mean to make you this way. I did not mean to make you feel this way. I know we have these talks where I say I will take your thoughts and feelings into account and not be as reckless. But when the moment happens, I don't know what it is. Maybe there is something wrong with me, but I don't want it affecting you.
He kind of slowly looks up because
I know, Davia, but you can't just... You know how I feel, Davia. You do. And as I know much of yours, you do know what happened to me as well. And I'm so sorry for everything. And I'm sorry about the island. And I know you get... It's just...
and he kind of stops us.
I don't know, Davia. When we were on the boat, and I saw you dive back into the water after the gun, and I know how much it meant to you. I understand it meant to you, but...
And he looks at her, just hurt and dejected. Still,
You didn't even ask for my help, Davia. You just went, without an explanation or word. I had no idea what was happening. I did not know whether this was something you lost. I did not know whether it was that man controlling your mind. I did not know what was happening, and all I could think of was getting to help you. I know you say you will keep my emotions in check, and I understand that you get passionate, but every time, Davia, I end up making a decision between helping all the others or you. And I don't know if I'm making the right choice at times.
And he looks up at her.
But I'm doing the only choice I can, really.
I She lets him go to look down at her hands, at her paw. And she's quiet for a moment, just clearly struggling to process stuff because this is not her forte at all. It's just like, I I panicked. I As humiliating as it is to say, I panicked. I don't really know what happened in that moment. One moment I was ready to get back on the boat with your help. I was ready to face that man and show him true pain. And then I looked and saw it wasn't there, and I it was like I don't even know how to explain what it was like, but my mind just it just went black, and I don't remember anything until I was above the water holding it and you were there. The rest of it is just gone, and I really want to just reassure you and tell you that that sort of thing won't happen. But I don't want to lie to you because I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what happened in that moment. I've never. No. And as she's about to say she kind of blinks and kind of looks off and gets this like 1,000-yard stare, like as a memory is resurfacing. And then it's just like, no, perhaps this did happen once before. She shakes her head to shake it away and then looks at him. It's just like, I don't want to make you upset with the things that I do, and I want to fix it if it causes you this much pain, but I don't know how. I desperately want to, but I don't know how.
Jubei kind of laughs, just chuckles with past the tears almost, like that laugh cry. He's like,
What a pair we are, Davia. We always seem to be hurting each other unintentionally. We want to make the other one happy and do our best, but either we keep fucking it up, and neither of us know how to fix it. is perhaps the cruelest joke the gods have played on me and you. We want to bring each other happiness, but it seems we just keep on bringing each other more pain, too.
He kind of starts sob cry for like a minute.
That's not true. At least for me, she kind of like blinks her eyes a couple of times, and doesn't really realize that she's started to cry until she like kind of feels them hitting her palms, and immediately starts shaking her head and like lightly kind of smacking her cheek to make it stop. And for a second, it seems to work. So she starts talking again and is just like, while it is true that a lot of pain comes from the things that happen with us, and sometimes the things you say or do, and I am sure whatever it is I say or do to you, but before that, it was just pain all the time. But now it's, yes, there's still the terrible pain, but there is good that I have never felt before. And I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to handle it, or I don't know. I don't know what to do. And as she's saying that, it's just, they're rapidly falling now, and she buries her face into her hands and just starts outright sobbing.
Jubei kind of looks up with his own teary eyes, and all he can do is when he sees her crying is bring her in for a hug tight to his chest. He just goes, I'm sorry, Davia. I didn't mean to make you cry, too. I'm so sorry. Kind of braces her and cradles her. Goes, this is. I. I don't know what to think at this moment. As he kind of looks down at her, goes, I don't want to hurt you the way we've been hurting each other, and I do want to bring you this joy we have, but I, I want to keep this more than anything with us. So much so, Davia. I'm willing to give up everything I have for it at this point. And he just wants to tilt her head up and look at her in the eyes when with his, to look her deep in the eyes and just go straight into her. Goes, Davia, maybe you're right. Maybe the only reason we feel this pain so much is, do we actually have joy to compare it to at last?
But I God,
And he looks back down as his memory recalls all the last couple of days. Kind of looks back down sad. He goes,
I am sorry for all I have done to you. And I cannot express how sorry I am for the choice I tried to thrust upon you back on the island. And I need to tell you why I did it, truthfully. If you listen,
Uh, she nods her head, seeming unable to speak at the moment, as the crying is a bit overwhelming since literally has not done that in 3 years. And so she just remains quiet and nods her head, closing her eyes really tight to try to fight what she knows is something she inevitably can't really fight at this current moment.
and he's just gonna kind of hold her while she does it. Goes,
Davia, the reason I didn't want you to kill Silverteeth, it was more than just the fact that I feared for your death, Davia. He, you weren't around when he did it, but he told me everything when you were kids together, or when you were a kid around him, the relationship you had with him, and when we were on the boat, you straight up told me that he was the only person on that entire blasted ship to treat you like the little girl you were at the time. When he told me that, when he explained that to me, Davia, the part of you I think I love so much, the part of you that is what I care for so much, I don't think would have existed without him. I think it would have been destroyed without him, and I feared if you took his life, if you had taken it just like you had before, part of you would have been killing that part of yourself, whether you realized it or not. And I know it may be foolish of me to think that, but it's what I believed. It's what I honestly believed. And I couldn't let you do that, even if it made you hate me for the rest of my life. I couldn't. And
he just looks up at her, goes,
in any case, I just wanted you to know the truth behind my thoughts. Whether you understand them or not.
and he's gonna try to just constitute his own emotions.
I hope you understand. But that's all I can say.
Davia wipes away at her eyes. The broken look turning more into just a look of frustration as she looks him in the eye again. And it's just like, I told you before, I was not angry at you. I understand. At least the poor. I, of course, didn't understand the deeper meaning, but I still understood. That is not why I was. That is not what broke my trust. Honestly, if things had gone the exact same way they did with you, hell, you could have had me chained up in that cell before making me talk to him. Even then, I still would have been okay with that. It was the fact that you are making it so that if I want to go ahead with my final decision, I have to take you too. That's not okay. And again, because I understand, well, I further understand the reasoning now, but even with just a bit of understanding, I was not mad at you. And now too, I am still not mad. I am just lost with that part of trust. And even so, that does not mean I am not still fond towards you. I just... In the end, that came down to the fact that you did not think that I could be convinced and that I could not be trusted.
He's going to look a little bit ashamed at the words, but slowly look back up and go,
I don't know what I was thinking with that point, Davia, but I was more concerned that I just couldn't take the risk, I guess. Perhaps it was selfish of me. And I understand that it was. But I needed you to know, too, that...
and he looks at her and says,
I don't know how much more I can prove to you, Davia, but if you throw your life away in this vengeance, I'm coming with you with it. That is all it means. And that's what will happen. You are not just living for yourself in this. I can't do it again. I'm not strong enough to survive it. I'm not.
She looks down again. I want to fix this, I do. But I don't know where to start. This anger, this moment where I'm no longer in my own head, I don't know what causes that. Hell, for all I know, maybe it's the brand. I wouldn't be surprised, but if that's not the case, then if I could stay as rational as I am at this current moment or every other passing day when we don't face those sorts of people, I would want to be like this as I am now, but I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't.
Jubei's just gonna give a weak smile and kind of slightly brush the hair out of her eyes, I'm assuming she's a bit of a mess after the crying and everything.
Red under her eyes and whatnot, yeah.
Comes out kind of purple with the gold eyes, I guess. I don't know. He just looks up at her, goes, I don't know if there's anything necessarily wrong with you, Davia. I love you as you are, and I've said it before, and I do want to fix this as well. I don't know how, or if it's possible, but he's just gonna look down and kind of sad again and goes, I want to help you if you want to try. Perhaps we both need to grow a bit more. And if you will, I would very much appreciate it if we could grow together still.
She rests her hand in one of his, the still healthy one, to grip it a bit. And it's just, I am more than willing to, compared to when we first met, I've already changed to a person that I don't really even recognize anymore. And I'm still sort of battling my thoughts on that, but I am willing. Especially if it keeps you from hurting this way, I am more than willing. I know this is selfish of me to say, but what else is new? I've always been selfish. You've known that since day one. I am a selfish person, but still, I ask that you don't give up on me, please.
He's just gonna look at her, and he's just gonna rest his head against her head and go, Never, Davia. Never. Just kind of a couple tears drop from his eyes.
You know, for a while there was a time I was a little fearful of you. The way that you managed to change my way of thinking and viewing things. It's very similar to that man. You call him Silver Teeth, but his real name is Tomlin. That orc. Despite being a pirate, he was against many of the things that I had to do to mix with the crew. He rather than gold and jewels and whatnot, he would gift me by sharing his time and showing me the stars and teaching me everything about them. And when I was branded like everyone else, I was so proud of myself for being considered good enough to be branded like the rest, but he wasn't okay with it. He never brought it up with the captain. Of course, you never go against the captain, but he brought it up with me and made it seem like he was so disappointed in me and disappointed in the fact that I was so happy. And at the time, I was so angry with him for it. I broke that telescope that he handed to you because I figured what gave him the right to question something that made me feel like I belonged. And it wasn't until I got older and began to understand that as much of a pirate as he was on the outside, he was not a pirate on the inside. I began to respect him for his differences. I would always tease him and mock him for how weak he was, but I still respected it deep down that life didn't change who he was deep down. And I know I still do, of course, believe all my crew to be family, because we were, but in the traditional sense, Tomlin was the one that treated me the way you might think traditional family treats each other. So the day that I lost my captain, it was a slap in the face to find myself tied to the mast of his ship and seeing him there as my captain lost his head. And I remember screaming at him, yelling at him, and just questioning why he was there, why he was doing all this, why he wanted me dead of all of them. I know he had his issues with everyone on the crew, but he wanted me dead too. And I still find myself being sort of scared because you have that humanity and goodness to you. So what if it one day turns out that you wish to toss me aside too? I don't know if I could. She looks like she's about to break down a second and takes a deep breath to calm herself. And it's just like, you know, I've been broken from the start, but I think that would shatter me completely.
Jubei's got a very sad smile on his face as he closes his eyes for a moment, then opens them and goes, "I see, Davia. Yeah, I suppose it is yet another thing you and I have in common." And he looks
I do not know everything that occurred with you and Silver Teeth.
What did you say his name was? Sorry, but
Tomlin.
With Tomlin.
I kept thinking Tim was like, no, that's the wrong T.
With Tomlin, but I think in his heart, Davia, as much as it hurts you as well, I think it hurt him more than you could imagine when he did to you as well.
And he looks up and goes, and
I would never toss you aside, Davia.
and he kind of gives a stupid boy smile, just that typical Jubei grin he has. With a laugh, he goes,
After all, Davia, I was willing to literally dive into the ocean in full plate mail just to get you back.
That makes the smile kind of break on her face again. She laughs. Can't help herself from reaching up to Chris's cheek and just give him this tired but unbelievably fond look, and it's just, it's been a number of days since I've seen these smiles.
It has been. And I could say the same. It's been a while since you've truly showed a good smile as well.
though again, he goes,
Though I have to admit, you and Evan are not getting along much better lately.
She's a stubborn one, I'll give her that. It only makes sense I would eventually crumble to her annoying persistence.
I suppose so. And I have to admit, these last few days with her, she has matured a lot.
Yes, she has. You know, I even managed to convince her to cut her palm.
I saw the tail end of that, actually.
and he's just gonna once again just put a hand on her, just caress her cheek slightly with his hand. He goes,
Davia, I'm glad that you are able to extend your family again. And have your trust grow as well.
She closes her eyes, the kind of pained look coming back. But she relaxes into his touch, kind of pressing into it a little. Is just like, I couldn't save my first one, but I will make sure that I can keep this one safe at least.
And I'll make sure to do everything I can to help that goal be achieved.
and he's just gonna go away with like,
Again, Davia, don't forget, you're part of the family as well. We need to keep you safe just as much as you need to keep us safe.
No initiation or anything, huh? Despite all the crap I've given all of you. Crap and trouble and cleverness I managed to drag along with me.
Jubei just gives a small smile and goes,
Let's be honest, Davia. You hardly have the one with the unique baggage in it, the only one with baggage in this party.
he stops and thinks,
To be honest, the only people that haven't had baggage in this party have had a tendency to die now that I think about it.
That makes a wide grin, but her face is just like, I suppose with that way of thinking, we are invincible.
At the very least, yeah. And he's just gonna give her like a soft kiss on her forehead and goes, I think we have many, many years ahead of us still.
Yes, many. Jubei, I wish I said this more, but I am so in my own head all the time. I forget. But thank you for being you and for loving a mess such as myself. You call me crazy, but I think you are worse.
He gives a small chuckle as he goes, You know, my master used to say, and I believe he used to mean this as an insult, but perhaps he meant it differently, that crazy tends to attract crazy. He used to refer to the fact that when we used to put the pranks on him, that we always seemed to want to up each other. But perhaps he just meant when two people are crazy, they can also be crazy for each other.
She arches a brow at him and gives an amused look and is just like, are you insinuating something here?
Perhaps a little.
Well, no, I don't want you getting a big head and assuming things that have not been said.
Oh, I suppose you are right. After all, every time I make an assumption, I do tend to make an ass out of myself.
To be fair, you sort of have a talent for that.
Indeed. And it's a
And
talent you bring out.
she cuts him off.
Oh.
She will again take his face between her palms and actually lean in and kiss him.
Aww. Definitely a split second shocker and just kisses her back.
Aww.
Uh,
And actually, since it's one that she initiated and they're actually just having a moment, it'll be one of those like long, just passing the time sort.
It's one of those long passing the time sorts of kisses. Is that where we want to end it? Is that good for the scene, or do you think we needed more?
I feel like it could go both ways.
I know, it's like, that's a good ending point, but...
Damn it. I'm thinking very hard right now.
I know, it's been so long since we've gotten to do one of these.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Alright, you know what? Fuck it. I'll keep going.
That's okay. You know, daylight savings time, I got an extra hour of sleep today. I'm okay.
Heck yeah. So I will say that she gives a very slow pull away from the kiss to just rest her forehead against his and then open her eyes. The grin coming back. But then again, sometimes assumptions can arise from hints.
Oh. He's got that slight Jubei blush. I suppose so, Davia. You know, it's funny, even after all this time, you still end up making me flustered.
And I got to say, as much as, well, probably even more, I enjoy seeing you fluster.
Oh, I know.
don't think you'll be happy until I'm as red as you 24/7 sometimes, Davia.
But I must say, it's interesting. This is well, at least as far as I remember, this is the first time I've seen you flustered over something that wasn't me being, well, me.
That is true, Davia. But, honestly,
And he's going to kind of give that awkward back scratch of the head neck thing.
to be fair, Davia, I've never seen you so, well, open with me. Even so. And, I suppose it's just making me remember things, realizing things more.
Oh, but realizing what?
I'm just going to look at her.
That it makes me realize why I'm always so stupid around you.
That makes her grin turn a little mischievous. She's just, oh, passing the blame, are you?
Oh,
She presses a kiss to his cheek. It's just like, that is not very nice, and pressing another to the tip of his nose.
He kind of goes up and goes,
oh, it's not all your fault.
he says with a small grin on his face, but the kiss is still turning red.
But I have to admit, I was always told love makes one do foolish things, and if there was any proof I ever needed that I've never been more in love in my life, I think you have proven it beyond a doubt with that statement alone.
I am. It is moments like these that I find myself very envious of who you are as a person. She kind of gets this like really thoughtful look on her face, and then a small sigh and smile, and takes his hand to rest his palm over her chest, over her heart, just so that he can feel how rapidly it's beating.
I'm taking it's pretty fast.
Yes, very, very fast. And she's just like, but rest assured that despite my lack of words, shall I say, you. And she kind of gives like a huff, kind of like blowing a bit of the shreds of hair in front of her face off to the side and looking off to the side. She's like, "It's, you know what I am getting at here."
He looks up at her and smiles and goes,
I think I really do.
and just because he can, he's going to take her hand and put it on his heart and notice the equally fast-paced beat.
I think I know exactly what you mean, Davia.
She stares at her palm for a moment, just a very content smile on her face, and then looks up at him again. I think you are perhaps the only one in my entire life who understands me very well.
And Jubei kind of smiles at that, and he leans into her and just whispers,
And to be fair, Davia, you are the only one that really brings out the best qualities in me.
and just gives her a quick little tap on the head. He goes,
And a few of the worst. But in a good way.
To give a short laugh and lightly smack his shoulder. You are a bastard.
Oh, now that is most definitely not true. I am well aware my parents were well married before they had me. There was an older sibling I had heard about, on the other hand.
You have a sibling.
No, I merely jest. But I was an only child.
You know, that surprises me with how selfless you are. I always thought single child were meant to be brats. I mean, look at myself. I'm a perfect example.
Kind of looks her up and down, thinks about it, tilts his head. Well, that is a loaded question, and I am not just going to answer it.
She narrows her eyes. It's just like, you were supposed to disagree.
He laughs again and gives her a kiss. But Davia, you told me never to lie to you.
Jaw drops and I'm like, how dare. She pulls away and crosses her arms again, giving his shoulder a playful smack. It's just like, you know what? Just for that, I am not going to kiss you.
Oh, now that is a very cruel jest for this. But I suppose when one has wounded one such as you, one must take his punishment with dignity and great respect. And he kind of looks up and thinks about, then again, on the other hand, and he's just going to go and give her a big bear hug.
She really tries to struggle so loud. She's like, Jubei, let's go.
Oh, I don't know. After all, you may not be able to kiss me. And he's just going to go up and give her one quick pick on the cheek and go, but you never said I couldn't kiss you.
Well, look at you looking at all of the loopholes. Why are you always these mischievous? Or am I rubbing off on you?
Oh, I did say you did bring out the worst in me at times, Davia, but in the bestest of ways.
You have no idea how much I'm regretting now. She'll kind of wiggle out an arm from the bear hug to pinch his nose.
Yes, well, Davia. You see, I actually am pinching my nose at the moment to get this sound. But doing Jubei's voice with your nose pinch is actually really hard. It just like gives it like a little laugh and just puts her back down.
As soon as she's free, she will loop her arms around his neck and tug him down to lay down just next to her. Just still grinning away. And like I said before, some of the happiest moments of my life as well.
All he does is he like stand over there and just kind of a very content, loving sigh. He goes, and mine as well.
She'll reach up to caress his cheek again, just kind of taking all, like it's like she's got all the time in the world to just kind of gaze in his eyes. Is just. And I do promise you, I will try to change. Well, I've been changing since we first met, but even more so. I do not want to hurt you.
He looks up at her and just caresses her cheek back and goes, I know, Davia. But, and he says with a smile, don't change too much. I do love you as you are as well.
Arches a brow. It's just like, even my short temper.
Well, it does make life more interesting at times.
Do you mean when my anger is focused on someone else or on you?
Yeah, to be honest, it's easier when it's on me. At least then I know how to focus the attack back. He's got the stupid grin on his face again.
You know, I had my suspicions for a while, but I am saying this now as less of a joke because I am starting to think it is serious. You are a bit of a masochist, aren't
He kind of gives it some serious thought for a second.
I never really thought about it, but when you consider what I do for a living, Davia, I quite literally pick fights and get battle scars and do damage to each other. I suppose any real warrior is a little bit of a masochist at heart.
Tavia taps her chin for a moment and thought, it's just like, as a warrior myself, Jubei, I think that is just you. I enjoy inflicting pain very much.
Well, you see, that's the flip side of the coin.
Liv Splendor grin again. She's like, well, perhaps that explains why we make such a good pair, then.
Perhaps so. Perhaps so.
And he kind of lines back down.
You know, I never really thought about it that way. I like that idea, actually. We are two sides of the same coin. Connected. And always have each other's backs.
Yeah. And for a moment, she has like that very, again, fond smile on her face. Just a moment. But then it kind of, the more mischievous look comes again. Just like, but in that case, if I am incredibly gorgeous, what does that make you?
Well, every coin has a head. I suppose that makes me the bottom end.
Says with another big grin on his face.
You know, I was jesting, but that is a rather funny response.
Just the big grin on his face.
And let's be obvious, Davia, when it comes to charm, you are leagues above me.
You know, I sometimes wonder about that. Like I mentioned before, I've never been able to have my heart captured by someone, but she stops. She's like, rewinds that sentence. Hold on, give me a moment. I have never had. What was that?
Said, do go on. That was me out of character, but yeah.
She kind of gets a scowl at that. She realized her small slip and like a little flush on the face. And she says, like, what I meant was I was not attracted this long to an individual. So you should give yourself props for that at least, that you have charm. Enough for my attention.
Well, I shall take that as the platinum metal then, shall I?
And again, the fluster goes back to mischievous, and she's just, oh yes, I can only imagine the sort of expression you would make if I described to you in vivid detail what crossed my mind when we first came across one another.
He opens his mouth to speak, closes it again, and kind of starts turning red again. It's like,
yes, well, I might have some idea, but maybe not. Was it at least pleasant?
She smirks and is just like, oh, absolutely. I would have made sure you would not have been able to be with any other woman. I would always cross your mind.
when she says that, he kind of gives her kind of a, not a scowl, but kind of like a raised eyebrow part.
But Davia, you've already done that.
Can dish but can't take. Ken scowls as a bit of a flush comes to her face. Would you stop that? I am trying to have the upper hand here.
I am sorry. I suppose it is the fighter spirit in me. We always do have to try to counter every move, don't we?
He's got that grin back.
Though, you know, I am a little curious. I did, of course, hint to you my thoughts on you when we first came across one another, and of course, you hinted to your, she puts up quotes, thoughts on me originally, of course, which you apologized already, don't worry. That's not what I'm getting at. But your thoughts after that.
You want to know? Yeah, I see. You want those thoughts? Yeah, not any other thoughts. Those.
As he starts just doing the neck rub.
Well, to be frankly honest with you, Davia, the thoughts well, I mean,
That's her eyes.
yeah, you're not helping. I mean,
He sighs. He goes,
yeah, what the hell? Honestly, I thought you were one of the most attractive women I'd ever seen.
You don't say.
And it did help
And
when you
what
wanted to try to kick my ass for the first time we met.
Again, with the masochist theme, Jubei.
I suppose so. I have always been drawn to strong women, what can I say?
You've got good taste. But I'm curious then, what are your. Well, and she gives a very blatant, like, flip of her long hair and then resting her arm over, in a way that, like, it kind of goes over the side shape of her body, is just like, what in particular?
he's gonna look at her, give it a really serious thought.
I would have to say it was your right hook.
The grin spot. His grin goes up again.
Jubei, come on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Honestly, though, Davia, I think the most attractive thing about you when I saw, and don't get me wrong when I say there is lots to pick from, but I was just drawn to the eyes. I've never seen ones like them before.
That kind of gives her a moment's pause. She's just like, my eyes. What do you mean by that?
Well, when I first saw you, Davia, I mean, and I know you were putting up a show and you were being the warrior you are, but when I looked into your eyes the first time when we were, well, let's be honest, that talking with each other at the bar after our drinks, and we were discussing our equal pasts. When you mentioned the stuff we had in common there, I looked into your eyes. I saw something I thought I could truly care for.
Looks off to the side at that. Well, I did not have a mirror on me, so I don't know what it is you saw.
Who could say for sure?
But then he's gonna stop and just with a kind of a mischievous grin goes,
Though to be honest, when you were trying to take the statue off of the top, I did quite like the little shapely butt you had in front of you as well.
That laughing again. Oh, I see. See, I knew that this was leading up to something.
Well, as I said, the thing I found most attractive to you when we first met was your eyes. That doesn't mean I didn't find a lot about other things about you attractive as well later on.
Well, I appreciate your honesty. Though that does raise into question then. When you say my eyes, do you also mean she kind of does that blink where one moment they're normal and then suddenly it's just the entirety is just the golden glow and kind of activating the opposing figure without actually using it. Um,
Yeah, the,
and
the
then
flash. Yep.
blinking, yeah, and just kind of gazes at him like that with her eyes like that with a uh, casual smile on her face, just like, did you mean all versions?
He kind of looks into her, deep into those full golden eyes, and with kind of a slick and just, you know, and he's just going to give her a quick peck on the lips. I did mention I did find those sexy as hell.
She blinks them back to normal and grins. It's just like, oh, that is true. You did comment on that, didn't
Oh, well, I do speak my mind, Davia. You know me. I am about as capable a liar as...
And then he stops to think about it.
Don't say everyone I said this, but about as good as ever it is on a fist fight.
I think that is a wonderful comparison. You should say that to her face. It'll help her grow a backbone.
Oh, probably, and then she'll try to zap me with lightning again.
And then you just stab her. I don't see the issue there.
To be true.
He's got that grin on his face.
But I have to admit, it is good to laugh again.
Then he's just going to lie back and kind of put his hand on her hand and goes,
I am so happy and content again.
She'll look at their hands. I am as well. It is good to laugh again, to have a break from everything for once again.
It is. I fear it won't last for long, but
and he's just going to close his eyes, give a deep sigh, and just in through his mouth, in through his nose, out through his nose.
I truly believe, Davia, once we make it through it all, I think only happiness may wait for us.
And he just looks over at her, goes,
And if the gods disagree, then I will fight them to the bitter end to prove them wrong.
And I as well. But, you know, kind of gets like this look like an idea came to her mind and then looks at him again. It's just like, kind of is like that excitable look in her eyes. The few times that he's seen it, like with his origami and stuff like that. Is after all is said and done, after these business and any nonsense we come across, after all of it, let's just go. Just forget the castle and responsibilities, nonsense and stuff. Let's just Go somewhere. Just the two of us.
Jubei is going to give a sly smile and just relax. And,
Davia, I was sort of thinking the same thing, to be honest. I'm not really meant to be a leader, or at least, perhaps I should say I'm not meant to be a leader in peace times. It makes sense with these turmoils that I am at the moment, but
and he's just going to look over at Davia.
there was an idea I was having, and I would like your opinion on it.
Oh,
Well, given the fact that I can't just leave without leaving something behind, I think when this is all done and the country's back at peace again, I think the best person to lead after I am gone in peace might be little Everin.
hmm. With the changes I have been seeing in her, I can't disagree.
That's what I've been thinking. She is growing strong, but she also has that kindness and personality that I think, with a bit more training and a bit more work, I think she could be one of the best leaders around. Who knows? Maybe she'll make a bit of a paradise here when we are done.
True, she could probably overcome many obstacles, which is why I believe it is she kind of gives like a mock serious look and nods her head just like, which is why I believe it is our duty to make sure she understands how to face the issue of bankruptcy by robbing her blind of every coin she owns.
Jubei just starts laughing.
Oh, I see. You want a vacation fund.
No, truly, this is all for her.
Oh, you are right. This is her best interest. After all, you can't really run a country until you know what it is like to not have a penny. It really puts you
Exactly.
into the mind of the peasants.
Exactly. I am so happy you understand where I am coming from.
Oh, yes. We will have to make sure we have a very big boat when we go on our vacation, though.
Oh, absolutely. Again, the childish look comes to her eyes, just like, I've always wanted to find my own boat just to sail the seas with, which I was planning to do after all this mess was sorted, but I, well, like I said, we should go somewhere. So, I mean, if you want to, unless you had other plans, I think you should come along with me. I can show you so many places that are out there that actually many people aren't even aware exist.
Jubei will smile and just look deep into her eyes and goes,
I honestly can say I could think of nothing that would make me happier.
Then it is settled. Once
Yes.
all this is over, we. This is the sort of thing you only read in storybooks, but we run away together.
Yes. We will run away, and you and I will live a very long and happy life exploring the world.
he stops and thinks about it.
Though to be honest, it might be a little difficult to man a boat just the two of us.
Rolls her eyes. It's just like, I am having a moment here. Don't ruin it.
Well, I was just going to suggest that perhaps Victor would be willing to lend us a skeleton or two. That way we have our boat to ourselves with, atomical servants that will do whatever the fuck we say.
Oh yes, nothing sets the mood but bones everywhere.
He's gonna give her a really sly grin.
I don't know, Davia. You strike me that you wouldn't mind a few bones around on the ship.
She winks at him. She's like, I was hoping you would catch that one.
Oh, I think you have rubbed off on me enough that I can catch quite a few of those after a while.
It's just with a grin. And then he goes,
You're gonna hate me for this, but I can't help myself, but we have a skeleton crew.
Lightly smacks his shoulder for that.
It just kind of falls down with like a goof laugh.
I am sorry. Victor would never forgive me if I didn't use that opening.
We will have to think on it more, because I definitely do want to be private, but at the same time, the idea of bodies manning the ship is a little mood breaking.
Yeah, that is true. But we'll figure something out. Perhaps with enough gold we can just get enough easy-going sailors who's willing to ignore whatever their captain and Catrice do together in their private time.
Oh, are you insinuating something?
Oh, of course not, he says with a smile on his face. But to be honest, if we're stealing, robbing everyone blind, it's going to be 50-50. As all things. He just gives her a peck on the cheek.
Narrows eyes. 64.
Oh, you are always the hard bargainer. But as the masochist, I agree.
You know, Jubei, you speak about turning me into a better person. You are going to make me still be spoiled. This.
And he gives her.
There's a big difference, though, Davia.
Oh.
And he's just going to look at her, goes,
There is nothing wrong with the one who loves you the most to spoil you the most.
She kind of like fiddles with the strand of her hair, looks off to the side. Again, the embarrassment showing a little bit. It's just like, you know, I am starting to regret the thought of being alone on the ocean with you for a
oh, he says with a thing as he goes,
Truly. Well, I figured it would be a pleasant experience, Davia. After all,
and he's just going to sit up and go, think funny.
if it's just you and me, there's all sorts of trouble you and I can get into together.
Oh. Contemplating joining the pirate life? Or...
Well, maybe not so much the pirate life, but let's call it the freelance exploration. As far as I'm aware, there are lots of hidden temples with lots of lost treasure around.
Oh, absolutely.
And he
And you...
says, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
He says,
And where there's treasure, there's usually a few magical items or two.
Oh, of course, we cannot forget. We got to get you a hold of magic.
Oh, indeed. I would very much like a few magical items. Who knows? Maybe there will be something in the pile of magic that could help with my atrocious ability to communicate.
I wouldn't worry too much about that. I can speak for us.
gives a slight smile and goes,
Oh, I am certain you can.
And then she kind of gives him this look that's like half playful, half the way you think a tiger probably looks at his prey. It's just like, plus, I don't want you to get too good with your words in the off chance that it catches another person's attention. I am sure you are well aware I am very possessive of my things. I don't like to share.
Jubei will smile and just look at her and goes,
Oh, I see. Well, do not worry, Davia. I have no intention of inadvertently causing murder by flirting with another person. I'm a little too self-aware for that.
You say that, but you are many times unconsciously sweet.
He thinks about it,
Well, I suppose.
and then he's gonna go.
But can you really blame the cinnamon bun for being sweet?
As he's got as he's got another stupid grin on his face.
Cat rolls her eyes. Oh, you are all funny jokes now, Jubei, but as you said, I'm a bit crazy.
He gives a laugh.
Well, let's be fair, Davia. There is literally not a person in the world, man, woman, god, fae, demon, or otherwise,
As he looks up,
that could make me turn away from this hot little devil.
and he's just gonna give you a peck on the lips.
She looks very content with herself with that. And it's just like, I am torn because halfway I am just glad that you are aware of how great I am, but on the other hand, you might accidentally say such words to the wrong person. I will have to figure out how to approach this.
Well, if you prefer, once I learn the spell, I could always just cast silence on myself when other women or other people are around. And only you can hear my honeyed words.
You said that Jubei was laying down, right?
Yes.
She'll kind of move over, just kind of lay over him, resting her elbows on his chest, and then folding her hands to rest her chin on them and look down at him. Is just. And you will continue to only drench such honey words on myself, yeah?
As I've said many times, Davia, you're the only one worth it.
Well, very good. I am glad you are aware.
He just looks up and goes,
Oh, quite fully.
And I will say that she again gently takes his face into her hands to lean down and press her lips sweetly to.
"Aw,
Aw, that was nice.
good spot to end."
Oh,